Good evening, everyone. Welcome to LiveRich series episode 13. And today I have a very special guest with me, Dipali Narula. Welcome, Dipali. It's an honor to host you.
Thank you so much, Kulpreet. It's such a pleasure to be on your platform, and I'm looking forward to chatting up with you. Such a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, my dear.
Absolutely. And let me, before beginning, our chat on the power of self-growth, let me tell you more about Dipali Narula. I met Dipali Narula almost probably at the beginning of her career, which is around about 20 years back. And she has a work experience of 25 years in marketing, hospitality, and events. And that's how I met him so many years back. And she has been for a decade. She has been a decade. She has been associated with her organization with international brands, fashion TV, which is popularly known as FTV in India and UAE in different capacities. Last being director, marketing, and events. And today, Dipali is in a new avatar. Dipali is a life coach with expertise in self growth. And definitely, we can feel that she has invested her time, her intention in creating that self growth, and hence she's a self growth coach. She's a motivational speaker and host of an online talk show with influential personalities called Sharp Conversation, and an author in the making. Dipali will be waiting for your book. And she is also a trained Bharatanatyam and an Indian contemporary ballet dancer. Well, I didn't know that, Dipali. And from performing professionally, she got into conceptualizing and organizing cultural events of music, dance, plays, and festivals. And now the cultural influencer as well. So, welcome Dipali as a life coach, and let's begin our talk on the power of self growth.
Thank you again, Kulpreet. Looking forward. Thank you.
So, to begin our chat on self growth, let me kind of share something with you that how I started this Leverage series or a concept in 2016. I started this concept of leverage philosophy where I believe that everybody can manifest and access abundance and richness in every area of their life. And in me being in quest of creating abundance in every area of my life, I went on learning new things and new things. And now in the lockdown is when I really focused on this philosophy that, well, I have definitely created abundance in my life, every area of my life. And there are certain areas I keep on working on a daily basis even now. And I thought, there is so much of abundance, let's kind of spread that out and give it to the world. And that's how I started this Leverage series, I think in April. And today is the 13th episode, and you are there, and that too on the power of self growth. So
So
tell us, what is self growth?
I will start with what self is all about, but I want to begin by saying that you are one of those people whom I have known, of course, like you said, for many years. But you always had something which was about really living a life of a lot of richness in thoughts and your feelings and your understanding. You were always a very spiritually enlightened person, Kulpreet. I remember when I used to meet you, there was this, energy which I had so loved about you, because you were full of optimism, you were so affable, and you were like all there. And, you were always so very grounded and positive about everything in life. So, your journey of feeling abundance in your life and then moving forward to spread it amongst people, I think only comes very naturally to you. And I congratulate you for being able to do that, and also taking it forward through your platforms. So great going, and all the very best to you.
Thank you. Coming from a self growth coach, it means a lot to me. Yes, even today, when I chat with you, I am here to learn from you, and I hope that everybody in the world listens to this chat and learns, because that's what our objective is, that to create that learning and sharing that learning. And I always believe that if I have learned, there are two things I have to do with my learning. One is implement the learning in my life, otherwise it's just knowledge, in the cupboard. And second is sharing my knowledge. So these are the two things I always do with my learnings. So
And
thank you for appreciating that.
yes, yes, and to just add here, the fact that you are always learning, like I always call myself a student, I am always learning. So, how much people are going to learn from us, and how much are we going to learn from each other today itself, of course, is going to be a matter of discovery and a lot of fun and enjoyment and imbibing from each other. But that is what life is really all about, and that is what is self growth all about. To be open to the idea of learning, and to answer your question, that what is really self growth is the power of life, and our very being is in growth. It comes innate to us, it is intrinsic to us. Growth, self growth. And if we do not believe in that philosophy of self growth, then it is as good as being non existent. It means that there is, of course, absolutely complete lack of self care and care for the others. So self growth is a component which is so innate in us, that it is there for all of us to just keep growing and keep upgrading ourselves, keep improvising on ourselves, and keep striving to become better versions of what we are, and keep improving on that, really. And this is all done through the whole process of different kinds of learnings in life, through education, and through acquiring different forms of skills. We must be open to the idea of constantly learning, something that we just spoke about. Keep educating ourselves, keep learning new skills. And for this, Kulpreet, I feel what is very, very important is to understand, to really know your mind. It is very important to know your mind, one, and also to know what is inside that mind. you know Once you understand what your mind is all about and what is inside your mind, then two things happen. One is knowing who you are. You discover who you are. You know how to to write your own story, to write your own life story. And the other thing is to then know how you want your life to be. So when you get to know your mind, you're able to know these two very important aspects of knowing who you are, and knowing what and how you want your life to be. Yeah. And once you are aware of this understanding, then growth and personal development is only natural. It is only about then constantly working on yourself in terms of upgrading yourself in life, in every aspect of life. And here I'd also like to mention, Kulpreet, it's not about not being grateful with what you already have, but it is about also being very grateful to the idea of the enormous opportunities and possibilities that are available to us, and to keep adapting to them and keep upgrading ourselves. So that is what really is life. Your purpose in life should be to be constantly looking at helping yourself to grow in all your spheres of life, whether it is mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, socially, in every which way possible. So if you're a willing person, if you're a willing learner, and you're open to change in life, and you're open to keep growing in life, then it becomes that much more beautiful for you to write the story of your life very well, happily, successfully, and make it productive for yourself. So that is what really self growth is all about.
Yes, being the story director of your own story. That's what Dipali is saying. And yes, indeed it is. And it's like she said, it's all about thoughts. It is in your thoughts. Thoughts are things. And what you think happens. So what
Yes.
Dipali is saying is very deep, and we'll dwell into deeper into that. My next question to you, Dipali, is, you and I, we are in the profession. We accessed our inner peace as well. We accessed our inner happiness as well, right? And there are a lot of people today. They don't know where to start. A lot of people, think, okay, let me give you my example. I started my self growth journey when I was probably, say, 25, right? When I realized there is much more to life than work, than money. So there is something more to life. I knew that. I knew that from my childhood. So from 25 years of age, I started investing in my self growth, which means I went to coaches, I went to people who knew more, I went to people, I learned things which I didn't know, right? So where to start? How does this journey start? If it has to start for someone.
Kulpreet, let me do this here for you. That self growth is a process which starts for you from your formative years. The process starts during our formative years through our parents, through our schooling, through our teachers, through the environment. So that process continues to happen. Where the problem comes? When we become adults. When we become adults, we think हमारे को बहुत education मिल गई, और जब formal education खत्म हुई, you think that you've learned enough, and that what is the need to really keep looking at various approaches of self growth. That is where the problem comes, when you stop thinking about continuing the same process of your self growth. And that is why you find most adults get completely stuck in life, because they're not able to move ahead in life. They're not able to really look at aspects and different approaches life has to offer for self growth. So you also have to be open to the idea of making it into a process which is lifelong, and a pursuit which is timeless. So it is about understanding that this is indeed a lifelong process, and self growth happens at any age of life. It
Yeah.
has to be ongoing. There is no, it starts from your formative years and it goes on till the time you take your last breath. So that's what I'd like to tell you here, that there is no such thing as starting from somewhere in between. It is
Yes.
about embracing the idea of change and being a keen learner and always looking at opportunities of growing and personal development. So it's an ongoing process.
Yes, of course, it is an ongoing process. In fact, it is, I think you also would know, it is a very deep process which comes from your last karma and, where you are born, how you're born, and what you're doing. So, I just wanted to share something. My last guest was Vivek Sharma. And, he was a very rich guy. He was working pretty good. And he wanted to kind of, get a bigger house, bigger car, and stuff like that. And suddenly, one day, his son passed away, right? His life came to a standstill. And these are triggers which probably existence give us to look at. Life is not about money or work, or maybe only family. It is a huge universe in itself, right? So tell us that, while you dived into your journey of self growth, share us, for an example, what you went through, how you felt, and how you won over them. Because there are, certain times when you are down and out in life. And suddenly I am a person, I'll tell you, Dipali, I am a person, I've seen so many downs in my life. And the moment the down happens, I start smiling. I said, Acha, up now the catapulting is going to happen, you know. So that's the learning in life. I always look at, now somehow I'm looking at the positive things in life. And it's been many years I've been doing this. So tell us something, you as a life coach, from being somebody who was like awake in the night to becoming awakening inside. What is your journey been?
So
It's a
Kulpreet,
different. I hope it's not. I'm not penetrating into your personal
so
space.
that's that's absolutely not the case. And, I always feel that it's a good idea to always be vulnerable, because that's how you share your stories and you make it relatable. We all have a journey in life, Kulpreet. We all have our ups and downs, and it's always about rising from your falls, really. So to answer this question, if I was to take, for me, self growth has always been a very, very important aspect of my life, and I've always believed in being a learner, something that we spoke about as a part of our opening discussion, that one has always been open to personal development, to self growth, as a keen learner. And with that, one has been able to constantly, keep visiting one's goals and one's visions, and, keep moving towards that. At the personal level also, whether it is professional or personal, you follow the same principles. But yes, when it comes to handling your downs in life, like you want to have an understanding of my journey during those periods, and how did I become a life coach. We remember meeting each other after many years in the fashion TV, the F Bar and Lounge at the Ashoka Hotel at my one of the venues in Delhi. And I went through a setback when I had my marriage coming to an end. Yeah. And after having tried to put it together, because, everybody's um, focus in life is always to work on your marriage, and particularly when children are involved. So one worked on that, but came a time when the marriage became quite redundant and beyond repair. So that is one time when I really kind of dipped in life, and all these understandings of moving ahead, your vision, your personal development, and all these things kind of took a setback. But you have to realize that eventually you have to move on in life. And despite the kind of mental and emotional setback and trauma, came a time that I said, it's enough. I have to realize that it is something that is for real, and I have to accept it. So when I started to accept it, things started to change, things started to move. मैं पहले भी बहुत दफा ये कह चुकी हूँ कि जब आप चीजों को एक्सेप्ट करने लगते हैं, कुलप्रीत, तो अपने आप सॉल्यूशंस निकलने लग जाते हैं जिंदगी में. So things started to move forward for me and for my children. I started to put my life together, and then I got back to putting my mind together again. I had got scattered. We all get scattered when we go through our lows in life, but I was able to put my energies together. I was able to get back to being the way I used to be and move forward in life. So to answer to you, we have to find our ways and means of balancing life for ourselves, and manage our ups and downs, and move ahead, because eventually you have to.
Yes. And Dipali, what I got from this, what you shared right now, somehow, the journey begins from acceptance.
Absolutely. The reality is that you may feel the setback, you may feel quite, emotionally down and out, but you have to pull yourself up, and you have to pull yourself up from situations where you are really stuck, and accept the reality. And once you accept the reality, creative solutions start to follow. They automatically start happening.
So Dipali is giving deep, snackable wisdom to us, acceptance, and creative things start evolving in your life. So this is like really deep for me. So tell me, Dipali, I have few questions I've already written for you because I knew I have to bring out the best out of you. So how do you handle the process of self growth? Because it is a process, like you said in the very beginning. At times it doesn't work for you. At times, probably, if I am investing something in learning something and it doesn't work for me, so how do I handle that process? And there are times when I start feeling, I'm lost, I'm frustrated, I'm dejected. These kind of feelings also come in life. So how do I handle all of that and come back to my source of self growth?
It is very normal and natural to feel that sometimes that you have, tried to, the problem, you have worked towards it, you've given all your energy, you've given it all your time, and yet things are not really working for you, and it can lead to a lot of despair. It can lead to dejection. It can lead to depression, multiple kind of fallouts. But here is what I would like to say, Kulpreet, that one should not succumb to the situation, come what may. You have to believe that, if things have gone wrong, they will work around, because it's not about being unworthy. We are absolutely very, very worthy human beings. We have to believe in ourselves. We do not need to, at any point in time, feel as if there is some sort of lack of any worthiness in ourselves. We don't have to, we may feel broken, but we have to ensure that we do not feel broken for too long. We are a full whole of a person. It's only a process. It's like a bud which has to blossom. Sometimes it takes time for that bud to open up and blossom, because it's a process of development. And it may take time, but eventually that bud has to blossom. So we shouldn't get into a stage of self sabotage or be too judgmental about ourselves at all. We should not, at any point in time, feel that we are absolutely incapable of anything. We need to
Right.
give ourselves time. We need to feel that we are worthy people. We do not need to prove anything to anybody. It may take time, but you will come out of it, come what may. So, you can step back a little bit. You can do a little bit of reflective thinking, try different approaches. If one particular kind of approach hasn't worked for you, when you've tried to, look at aspects of self growth in any area of life. So you just have to find different ways and means of being able to get back to yourself, to get centered. You do not you can look at other people, you can learn from them, but do not give away your power to them. So you look at, go read books, go to seminars, attend workshops, look at the kind of tools and techniques that are available, visit an expert, visit a life coach, try and do things that you can do to get yourself together, and you are sure to bounce back. And there is no way that you wouldn't get back to, your own personal development and your self growth in whichever area that you're looking at.
Right. In fact, I was going to, that was my next question, which you already answered. That it is very important when you're not able to, handle something. It is very important to reach out to an expert. Like, today, if we get ill, we go to a doctor. We don't go to a, अपने घर के किचन में नहीं जाते, हम डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं. And
Correct.
we don't even try to self medicate, because self medication can be like really dangerous. So at
Correct.
times, I think it is advisable to reach to experts in the area which you're looking to repair in your life, or have a self growth. So if you're looking to repair your relationships, go to a relationship expert. There are abundant of relationship and life coaches like Dipali available, who will definitely help you mend or repair, or make you competent enough to deal with your own self, or be, you be able to know yourself. So tell us, Dipali, as a self coach, now you've been a self coach for a while. What are the tools which you use? What is your philosophy of anybody coming to you for a self coach? What is your philosophy?
I have to tell you that I discovered the field of coaching. Of course, we all know what coaching is all about in various forms. But I went through a setback with my health. I had a problem during my fashion TV days, because of being in an environment of very high sound decibel of music all the time. And you have been a part of it, so you understand that how we were constantly in an environment of nightlife entertainment and fashion shows and fashion events and parties, etc., which meant there was always a lot of euphoria, a lot of high sound decibel of music, and it impacted me. Now, when that impacted me with an ill condition, I went into a very low state of mind. The reason mentioning this to you and linking this with coaching is that when I went into a low state of mind, very contrary to my own character, I was not able to understand what is it that was going, wrong with me. Of course, the jolt and the bolt came when the doctor told me you cannot go back to that kind of environment and you can't travel so much, because I would be traveling a lot between, different parts of the country and a lot to Dubai. Now, having been to some counselors and therapists, um, I couldn't really find any sort of a permanent solution to the state of mind that I was going through, and that's when I, happened to meet Mr. Arfin Khan, the renowned, the renowned peak performance coach, and I said, this bit of coaching that he's talking about, if it works on me, because the seminar that I attended, I certainly understood that he spoke about a process. He spoke about a proven system to pull you out of a situation where you are stuck within a given timeline. And this framework, this particular process, when I understood it in detail, I realized that it seemed very logical, and I decided to go in for his course, and with two things in my mind. One was to look at a permanent transformation that I was trying to figure out, and I wasn't being able to really achieve it. Because why permanent transformation? Because I wanted to make that permanent shift in my mind. I wanted to get back to what I was all about earlier, but no, none of the other forms of counseling, etc., was helping me. So when this coaching bit came, I thought, if I get transformed, one, then I would be able to secondly look at the line of coaching, because in my area of work, I had, in many ways also coached people, mentored and trained people. So it came very naturally to me. And when I started to coach, Kulpreet, with Mr. Arfin Khan, I realized the kind of, how beneficial it turned out to me, for me, that I bounced back within the time frame that he had mentioned, he had stipulated, and I got back to being in that high state of mind. I turned around completely, and then my conviction of getting into coaching got even more stronger. So my whole endeavor of being in coaching remains exactly the same, to be able to really get people up in their lives from wherever they are stuck, to give them that kind of quality of life, to give them that kind of understanding in life, to know who they really are, what they're all about, what really drives them in life, what is their potential all about, and how they need to lead a life of abundance, something that you spoke about. To many, it comes organically, naturally, and to some, you have to make them go through this system and realize the relevance of how a coach can help you out of situations where you may be stuck in life. So that is what I do as a coach. I've gone through it myself. So my conviction in this whole process of coaching is very, very high. And I feel that when you, in life, at any point, feel that you are in a sticky situation, you are feeling stuck with various things that are going wrong in life, you must seek help. You must talk to people that you can trust. And more than that, if you really need to, refix your life or reclaim your life, reach out to a life coach or reach out to whomever professional you want to, and seek help. So that's what I always talk about and I promote, because I've gone through it, I've experienced it, so I have a lot of conviction in this. And
Yes.
like Like you
Yes,
said,
Deepali. And so, I have another question, interesting one, because it just came to my mind like a bouncer. So tell me, I have known you for like so many years. You're as ageless as 20 years back. You are like looking hot and sexy and smiling and shining. So what is the secret? Is it self growth or like what? So tell us something on that.
that's really sweet, Kulpreet. Thanks very much. But I think it's about having a very one of my very strong points is to be very optimistic in life, and to be very very happy go lucky. I don't like thoughts or situations which are twisted. I'm like a happy go lucky person, very clear, very transparent. And I think when you have a mind which is by and large very clear and very transparent and optimistic, things just probably get reflected in your personality and in your the way you are. Maybe that's the reason.
Absolutely. And let me add, Dipali, another thing. I have always seen you with a smile. So that's another trick. So this is for people to learn from Dipali. Keep smiling. Life is smile back at you. And you will keep, shining like Dipali. Ageless beauty.
Thank you so much, Kulpreet. And I also always believe, which I must share, that दुख तो सबके आते ही हैं. Everybody goes through their ups and downs, but it's okay to cry inside a room, but when you go out and you meet people, तो उसी तरह जाना चाहिए, so that you are able to spread happiness. You're able to uh, just because beyond a point सबके अपने अपने दुख इतने हैं कि वो दूसरों के कितने देखते रहें. You know what I'm saying? That
Got it.
so if you have your moments when you are low, sit back in your room, cry it out, but when you walk out of the room, you should be walking out with a nice broad smile.
Right. And Virendra is saying dashing personality, Dipali. Gee, God bless you.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
followers and Nimisha, it's her birthday. One of my soul sisters, she's saying hi to me. And well, your friend Rupa is saying, well said. She was on the chat and she's still on the chat.
Oh,
I
nice.
kind of I kind of missed these things. And Priyanshi is also saying, agreed, so beautiful and so charming. Yes, Priyanshi, I am talking to a charming lady and I'm charmed by her.
Thank you.
Can you tell us that how important is self growth for you now that you're a coach? अब हमने सीख लिया है कुछ तो इसका मतलब है कि और सीखना है. How important is self growth for you now?
Very important. Like I said earlier, Kulpreet, I'm a constant student. I'm always learning. Self growth for me is always about being open to new ideas, being open to new people, expansion of life, meeting up with new people, looking at new situations, always learning. I've also gone through my own struggles, in the sense that there were moments when I had to look at very, very new areas of life. And how do you adapt to them? You only can adapt to them if you're a keen learner. So, अपने आप को constantly बढ़ाना, continuously सीखते रहना, and to be on the path of self growth is what is going to, at the end of the day, make you an empowered person. So for me, I have always been, and I am, today like that, and I would probably be a person who believes in personal development to the hilt till the day I live. So for me, it is very important. Otherwise, you perish. If you think you know it all, then you are preparing yourself to get perished.
तो,
It's as
तो
simple.
सब लोग हैं यहाँ पे दिवाली दीपाली के दीवाने भी हैं मतलब फुल ऑफ एनर्जी वाले तो एंड अदर लिसनर्स प्लीज गेट इट a life coach is telling you keep investing in your learning and keep
Absolutely.
learning and that's the only thing that can tell you that you're alive otherwise you're gone boss.
Absolutely. Absolutely. अगर आप ये
Very
सोचते रहेंगे हमने तो सब कुछ सीख लिया, हमें सब कुछ आता है, तो फिर आप भूल जाइए, फिर आपको पता नहीं कि आप अपने आप को कितना पीछे छोड़ देंगे, क्योंकि दुनिया तो आगे बढ़ती ही जाएगी, you know.
Yes,
So if
I must share with you, Dipali. I'm 46. I'm just going to turn 47. And at 46 years of my age, I learned public speaking.
yeah, fantastic,
I
fantastic.
I I am learning digital. This okay. This is like outside, and inside me, I keep exploring myself. I keep looking within, because that's the area of learning. Is that, do you think looking within is the area of learning?
Sorry.
And how looking within is the area of learning?
Yes, very much. Because when you look inward, you're able to do a lot of self assessment. You're able to evaluate where do you really stand in life. There will be areas where you have a lot of you have strengths and you have your weaknesses. So there will be areas where you have enough room to constantly learn and keep upgrading yourself, which is why self growth is very intrinsic with learning, education, and acquiring skills, and there is no age to it. Like you said that you are now learning, and you did your public speaking, etc. I'm also making use of this time, Kulpreet, and doing a lot of things that I hadn't really done earlier, either because there was no time or for whatever else reason. So you have to keep looking inwardly, keep assessing yourself, and keep seeing which are the areas that you really need to work upon, and go ahead and learn. That is what is personal development all about. That is what
Yes,
self is all about. So हम घूम फिर के उसको वापस उसमें आते ही हैं, that eventually it is all about knowing yourself, taking those necessary steps, keep evolving and keep growing.
yes. And Shobana is saying every day is a new learning leading to self growth. Well said, Dipali. And Avnish is also saying, okay, he's saying it's wonderful, Kulpreet. Yeah, thank you. Dipali, I have a thing going on in my mind. Which are the areas? Which are the key areas in in one's life that one should invest growth in that, or invest learning in that? Which means, I mean to ask, like an example, should I look within in my spiritual growth, or should I look in my social area? Should I look in my family area, in my business area, profession area, wealth area, finance area? Which are the areas I can grow as a person in, and which should I invest in?
Could, there is no there is no universal strategy about self growth, because every individual is so unique, and every individual has their own kinds of requirements of self growth. You may be very strong in many areas of life. I may be very strong in many areas of life. There may be many areas where we still need to work around. So there are these some pillars of life that I always talk about, and those pillars of life really create a wholesome wheel for us. And whether it is to do with health, it is to do with career, it is to do with wealth, it is to do with relationships, possessions, spirituality, friends, recreation, etc. So we have to realize, we have to again have that mindset of growth, to be able to identify the areas where we are kind of lacking, and work on them. For example, if I look, where do I stand in my life today, I can very easily identify 2 3 areas where I am certainly where I need to work upon, where I need to invest more time for my personal growth and development. Likewise, if you were to really sit back, and the principle of self assessment comes again, where you know that, am I lacking in a relationship? Am I lacking in my career? It's not going the way it should be going. Am I not really spending enough time on my health? Do I need to do much more? Create a better roadmap for that. Or I have really been not able to spend too much of my time in going out, enjoying life and recreation, and spend time with friends. So, when you start looking at these pillars of life for yourself, you start working on them, you start evaluating yourself on them, you will are able to very easily identify those areas where you really need to focus and invest greater time for yourself.
यस, थैंक्स फॉर दैट दीपाली। अच्छा ये बताओ कि हमारी चैट आपकी एफ टीवी वाली लाइफ के करे बिना तो इनकम्प्लीट होगी। तो टेल अस because life is learning. Your F bar days must have given you immense learning which you can probably use in those stories you can use in your life coaching. So tell us
Absolutely.
something about those days, and your Avnish is saying wow, true Dipali. And Rashmi is saying, yeah, so true, Deepa. Yes. Well, invest in your self growth. This is the best thing you can ever do in your life to yourself. Otherwise, आप आए हो और आप चले जाओगे, बस that's about it. आपने ना कुछ वैसे तो आप ना लेके आए हो ना लेके जाओगे, और ना आपने कुछ किया लाइफ में। चाहे आपने कितने भी पैसे कमा लिए।
ये जो जीने का और रास्ता है ना, उसमें तो ऊपर वाले ने कहा है कि भाई अपनी जिंदगी को कुछ बना लो, कुछ कर लो, है ना? तो
Yes.
वो जो बीच का जो टाइम है, उसको आप कितना प्रोडक्टिव और कितना फुलफिलिंग बनाते हैं, that is what it is all about.
Yes, and that is in your hands. And life coaches like Dipali can create that abundance, can help you pull
Yes.
up and teach you that abundant living. So thanks for that, Dipali. And tell us something about your F bar stories and nightlife, from nightlife to inner life. Right. So
Okay.
tell us your nightlife to inner life. So tell us your nightlife stories which have really helped you to look inside.
Okay, so I have to start that when I started with Fashion TV, Kulpreet, I came. You said you didn't know that I was a Bharatnatyam and an Indian ballet dancer. So, having learnt Bharatnatyam since the age of 6, and then from the age of 8, Indian contemporary ballet with some of the renowned gurus, and whether it was Guru T.R. Devanathan, Mrs. Saroja Vaidyanathan briefly, then Indian ballet with Shri Narendra Sharma ji, who was the student of Pandit Uday Shankar, then Anand Shankar, Uday Shankar's son, and Tanushri Shankar. So I had a great journey where I was very rooted traditionally with these forms of dancing and music and theatre. So when FTV came into my lap, it was like, two ends of a scale. One side was so traditional and rooted, and the other side was this whole thing about a lot of glamour and fashion and entertainment, etc. It took me time to figure out whether I really wanted to be a part of it or not. But my friend and who had got into this line of work, Mr. Rajan Madhu, said that he was very keen that I take up this assignment because of my background of events, because I'd also got into, from performing, I had also got into organizing cultural evenings and events, etc., from conceptualizing to curating and executing. So when he was so keen, his confidence made me feel, okay, let me give it a shot. So I kind of started working with him, and I thought I'll give myself a couple of months, Kulpreet. But frankly, I adopted myself and adapted to I adopted the whole concept so well, and adapted it to the whole new environment and to the new genre so well that after a couple of months, I got completely consumed into the life with Fashion TV and the venues that we had started. So it was quite a roller coaster, and a life which meant that we were constantly in an environment of a lot of activities pertaining to entertainment with international artists, national artists, doing fashion shows and parties with the frontline designers of the country. Lots of action from Bollywood happening, the corporate world doing their big launches with us. So I almost had a calendar of 365 days in a year with something or the other happening. And it was, like you rightly said, it was, for me, I would be awake till 5:36 in the morning. And when people would be going out for their jogging, I would be getting back home from work, whether it was in Delhi or it was in Mumbai. So it was quite a roller coaster ride. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. I don't think I would have given it up for anything had it not been for my problem that came up with my ears. So that made me change the course of my life completely. But having said that even when I was a part of fashion TV and a part of that razzmatazz life, I must say, because also running nightclubs is not an easy job. You have to be all there. And I used to be like a general leading from the front. I was
Yes,
always, I was always there. So it was very important for me to be always very grounded and very centered, which came to me very naturally. So it wasn't difficult. And once I decided to quit because of my problem, it was a very smooth transition from a life which I had led with fashion TV to getting into a life of now, which is coaching. So I think everything has its own time. हर चीज का एक समय होता है शायद. So उस तरह की जिंदगी से निकल के now to be looking at your inner engineering and looking at and talking about things like self growth and abundance in life in every which way through this field of coaching has now become my new mission. And so I've adapted to it uh, beautifully, and I'm looking forward to making contribution in people's lives just as I've experienced it myself. So that's
absolutely.
about
That's
it.
so powerful. That's so powerful, Dipali, which you what you said in the end, making contribution in people's life. अपने लिए जिए तो क्या जिए,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
right?
बिल्कुल.
So, Dipali, I also, wanted to ask you that now that you're a life coach, how can people reach you? Do you take personal sessions, group sessions? How can people reach you for coaching?
So there are two ways, Kulpreet. One is to do coaching one-on-one, because sometimes and of course also group coaching. But the reason I'm also mentioning one-on-one essentially is because many times people only want to have a one-on-one coaching. So I'm certainly available for them for one-on-one sessions. Otherwise, we also make small groups and do group coaching as well. And I'm available on my Facebook page, which is Dipali Narula, Coach Dipali Narula, and on my Instagram. And they're welcome to get in touch with me. They can send me direct messages, and I will immediately get back to them.
Thank you for that. And to all the listeners, invest in self growth, and the power of self growth is sitting right in front of us, from nightlife to inner life. So that's the journey you can explore when you invest in self growth. And the self growth is an area which is abundant. You can access it through your through mentors, through reaching out to people, and suddenly once you're open to accessing it, the universe will take to those mentors, and everybody has their own kind of mentor. So there are so many, and Dipali is like, I'm seeing the kind of following she has. So you can reach Dipali for, she being your life coach. So thank you, Dipali, for your time and coming on Live with series. This is episode 13, the power of self growth. And in LiveRich, what I believe and what I want to contribute to the world is access the abundance and richness in every area, and it's possible.
Thank you very much. And just to say that, as long as you have a mindset of wanting to grow and you keep believing in yourself and you know that you're going to be like a star and you're going to be successful, things will always work for you. You just need to have a very optimistic mind and a mindset that is always willing to learn and to grow. So thank you so much, Kulpreet. And it's been such a pleasure being here and talking to you. And I will catch you soon. And thank you, everyone who joined us for listening to us. And do get in touch, whoever is wanting to have any sort of an understanding and talk or chat. get in touch, and I will be more than happy to help you out. So thank you, Kulpreet, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Yes, Dipali, it was a wonderful session. I loved hosting you. It was a pleasure of mine, and a big thank you to all the people who came: Rashmi, Avnish, Shobna, Priyanshi, Nimisha. Freddy was there, Rupa, Karamveer, and then a lot of people. So thank you for being there, and we shall see you next Saturday, 7 p.m. That's the time I do my LiveRich series sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye. Bye.
Uh, Dipali, you remain backstage. I'll just come. I'll end the broadcast.